Xi Jinping. It's been rumored that he's been under house arrest since September 2022, and that the military is in charge. Again, this is all rumors. I don't have a confirmed source telling me that this is all true, but I thought this would be something to take a look at. As of June, there's been tweets out there stating that Xi Jinping is recovering from his stroke and under house arrest, with military leaders and party officials running the country, and his wife is also under house arrest with him. Taking a look at his chart to see if he possibly had a stroke, if he's under house arrest, and maybe what the future holds for him. First thing that I looked at was September 2022 to see if there's anything in his chart that could possibly show any sort of house arrest or any sort of arrests in general. What I did find around September 22nd, maybe not exactly on this date, because I don't have any sources telling me exactly that this is when this happened, but according to his chart, this is what it's showing. Neptune. Neptune is conjunct next to his natal midheaven. Now, this is all an approximation again because I do not have his exact birth time, but Neptune conjunct the natal midheaven, the most toppest point of the chart, dissolving of his authority, dissolving of his power, unclear identity, squaring to his sun, his identity, his rulership being dissolved, loss. There's a loss here. Midheaven at 23 degrees. Neptune was at 24 degrees, but 23 degrees represents sudden loss, sudden endings. 23 degrees also does represent, I'm going to put this in words that doesn't have anything striked or taken down, taking of one's life. I'm not saying that that's what he did, but his life was in the public eye. He was a leader of China, the CCP. So taking loss of his life in the sense of loss of power, of authority, loss of freedom in his life. Being on house arrest, you have lost your freedoms. Being in solitude. Pisces here represents solitude, being in isolation. Saturn, transiting Saturn right here, is in the 8th house, opposite of his Pluto. This is a big deal in his chart. 8th house, power structures, behind the scenes, secretive. And Aquarius does represent freedom. It's a humanitarian sign where it wants the good of all, but in this case, in the 8th house, it's the freedoms of himself, unrestricted boundaries. Pluto and Leo in his chart is showing that he is a powerful leader. His value, everything behind him, what his drive is in life is power, wanting power, to control, to be the leader, the ultimate leader. With Saturn opposite to Pluto, it's a restriction of his power, stripping away of his power. It's going to also be shame, grief, humiliation, exposing some hidden truths, hidden agendas. Humiliation in the sense that he's being taken over by other people and he is losing his control. I'm not very strong in Chinese culture, but I know that very proud people, shame, humiliation is something that they take very seriously. They don't want to show any shame or humiliation or weaknesses. Saturn opposite to Pluto could be revealing a weakness of his, being taken into house arrest, that I assume would be humiliating. Losing his power is stripping away his values, stripping away who he is and what he is born to do. Removing him from the public, his value to the public is gone, is removed, taken away. We also have Lilith, transiting Lilith conjunct natal Uranus, and also Chiron squaring to Uranus. Sudden disruption of in his identity, who he is. Perhaps he was defiant in some of his rulings and how he ruled as a leader, and as a result of his doings, he was taken into house arrest. I don't know why he would be on house arrest. Perhaps he was trying to change too many rules. Perhaps he himself was too rebellious for the CCP, and that's why his power was undermined, taken out, and he was restricted on his own authority. transitioning over to losing power. Now, again, there's tweets out there stating that he has lost power and there's other people coming in to replace him. There was another tweet. This is saying it's from May 30th, that Xi Jinping has lost power, top leaders unsure of China's future. So I did take a look. Between late May and early June is the time that's being reported that he's lost power completely. So I took a look at his chart to see if any transits were indicating this loss. So I took a look at June 4th, because that was a transit occurring that could be a signal of losing power. This is Western astrology that I'm using. I will also be looking at a Vedic chart as well after this. So this is June 4th, 2025. That just doesn't mean that he's lost power on June 4th. It would be around this time, because this is when all this information is coming out. We have Pluto opposite the natal moon, showing people not valuing his authority any further, being stripped away of power. The North Node is now conjunct his midheaven, a change of direction in his life, loss of authority, loss of his public figurehead that he has in China. Now, the North Node is at 23 degrees here. It moves slow, so it's been here for a little bit of time at this degree, and that is the sudden ending, sudden loss, squaring to the sun. Who he is, who people identify him as, has changed, suddenly taken away. It suddenly ended his rulership and authority. We have Saturn and Neptune here, both in Aries. This does in general represent military power, struggling to keep control of authority, losing control of authority, of people, of governments. And because he is this leader, it's in his 10th house, losing control of his career, military force used possibly against him to get him out of power, to take him out of power. Neptune and Saturn are in the 10th house in Aries, squaring to his natal Mars. This is military takeover, forced removal of his position in power. It's in his first house, so him, who he is seen as to others, has been forced, taken away by force. Jupiter is here next to his natal Mars. That's the law. And maybe he's broken laws, broken the rules within the Chinese party. That's why he was forced out. Career downfall. This is also showing Saturn, Neptune in Aries, squaring to his natal Mars. His public downfall, sudden public downfall. Now, again, because we don't know all the inside details, this could have happened already, and maybe it's just coming to light right now. It's just coming out into the public right now because Saturn, Neptune being next to each other in Aries in the 10th house. It's publicly being shown now. It's not just hidden any further. Pluto has been opposite to his natal moon for some time because Pluto moves so slowly. This transit will take a good 3 to 5 years to clear up ish. It started in 2022 and it's still going on. Pluto is retrograde now, so it's going back and forth. He's dealing with this humiliation type of energy. The South Node here is obviously opposite to the North Node. It's at the bottom of the chart. Karma. He's dealing with the karma that he has created for himself. The sudden loss of public power. He's dealing with whatever karmas is. It's next to the moon at this moment on June the 4th. But maybe karmas things that he's done to people in China. He's dealing with that now. As a result of what he's done, he's dealing with the outcome. Uranus is in his 12th house. That's the house of hidden enemies. Hidden forces taking him out. Perhaps a coup in the CCP taking him out for whatever reasons they have to do this. I took a look at his Vedic chart. I would like to integrate this more, so I'm trying this out. I'm not as strong in Vedic astrology as I am in Western astrology, but let's see how it goes. And I am using a circular chart. I know that this is not the traditional Vedic astrology chart, but I had a difficult time finding a transit chart for Vedic astrology, so I'm just using this chart for now. And in Vedic astrology, they do not use Neptune, Uranus, or Pluto, so I will not be looking at those. This is his natal chart. Again, his time is not exact, so some of this could be inaccurate. He has his ascendant in Leo, very powerful, showing his leadership type of personality. The sun rules his ascendant in the 11th house. Powerful destiny, powerful karmic destiny. 11th house shows his ambitions, his desires, his destiny in a sense. So destiny to be a leader. With Mars here, aggressive leadership, military type of leadership. And we can see that with how he ruled, being leader of the CCP. He has Saturn in the 2nd house in Virgo. I needed my notes to know this because Vedic and Western are different. His accumulated wealth, his money, seriousness in his money making, a ruler, him being a leader, a place of authority is how he made his money. 6th house Saturn, Capricorn. Saturn rules the sign of Capricorn. His work, his everyday work, what he is doing every day is being a leader, is being an authoritative leader. His North Node is here in Capricorn too, so it's almost as he was destined to be this leader. Jupiter in his 10th house of Taurus. A lot of potential here to rise up to the top. Expansion of power in the land, in his homeland, in his country. Mars is the ruler of his 4th house in Scorpio. Your home, the land ownership. He rules over the land of China and people of China with military force, military type of action. His communication is very intelligent, quick thinking, quick strategic moves in his thinking and strategic actions that he takes. Let's move on to the transits. I took June 10th. It was around the time a tweet came out, so I just chose the 10th. Doesn't mean that's the exact day when he lost power and control, but I'm just taking the 10th as a point in time to look at to see perhaps some indicators. And there are some, of course. So we have Saturn in the 8th house, squaring to natal Mars. Jupiter is next to his natal Mars. So Saturn squaring his natal Mars. Loss of power, status struggles, blocked ambition, fall from grace, betrayal of allies, being cut off from his support networks, fated events, facing karmas from his past actions. Jupiter does rule the 8th house. Jupiter being next to Mars. The rules, the laws, the authority figures taking action against him for putting legal action on Xi Jinping for his past karmic actions, hidden actions maybe that he did that was not known to the public, secretive types of things Xi Jinping perhaps was involved in. Again, I don't know why he was taken out of power. But Jupiter next to Mars, it's the law taking action against him, forcing him out of power, losing his position, judicial systems ruling against him, hitting karmic forces, pushing back, especially with Jupiter ruling the 8th house. Now we have Mars in the 1st house, as well as South Node in the 1st house. Fall from grace, losing his power, losing gain of control, stripping away the authoritative figure that he is, dissolving of his power. With Mars and South Node in the same house, this is aggressive actions taken against him. Again, loss is highlighted here. His sun rules this house in the 10th house here. It's in the 10th house of Taurus, losing his physical identity, losing the structure and stability that he has as a leadership, losing that, dissolving it. Regarding his health and a stroke, with Saturn here in the 8th house, this is a signature of health issues, disease, illness. So having a stroke seems to be pretty on point with within his chart. Natal Mars rules the sign of Aries in the 9th house. With Venus here, perhaps his values being stripped away. Fortune, ninth house is fortune, prosperity, luck, relationships with father, long journeys. Okay. With Jupiter next to Mars, Saturn squaring to Mars, maybe losing his wealth, losing his status within his status has helped him to gain wealth. So losing his status, sudden action taken against his status, showing a loss of power. His chart, Western, Vedic, they both do reflect Xi Jinping losing authority, losing power, losing control of the CCP party. Very quickly, I took a look at China's chart. Now, this is the chart of when the People's Republic of China came to be created. It was October 1st, 1949, 3:01 a.m. And what I did find is now we have Uranus squaring to its natal ascendant, that's in Leo, and Mars conjunct the natal ascendant in Leo. This is rebellious energy. This could be the people being rebellious, maybe military action within the country, or because Neptune and Saturn are in Aries in the 9th house, this could be military action taken against other countries, foreign countries. 9th house is foreign countries, foreign relations. The Sun, which is the ruler of this chart, is in the 11th house in Gemini. Gemini is a sign that's known for explosive actions, events, especially when Uranus is in Gemini, which it will be in July. It could be the government going through a rebellious radical shift, which it is in the process, it seems to be, with Xi Jinping not being in power any further, or assuming that he's not in power any further. With Mars next to the ascendant, some action taken, again, it could be against the government because the Sun does rule the government, the country itself, because the Sun is the ruler of this chart of the ascendant at 28 degrees. With Neptune and Saturn here, though, in the 9th house, I feel this is more military actions possibly taken with foreign countries, perhaps. The natal moon is in the sign of Capricorn. Currently, there I do not see any moon transits. Okay, I do. Moon 28th, Chiron is squaring to its natal moon. Chiron is in the sign of Aries, squaring to the natal moon. That's the people of the country. This could be highlighting the people of the country, something that is being brought up that needs to be looked at, to be healed, to be reconciled. Looking a little further ahead in time, when Uranus does enter into Gemini, this in general, worldwide, for everybody, is a signal of war, fighting, aggression, rebellious actions, explosive actions. As Uranus enters into Gemini, Mars will be conjunct to its natal Saturn. This energy is of fighting, and this could be against the governments, against the monetary policies, because Saturn and Neptune is in Aries in the 9th house, foreign relations, foreign countries. This could be a signal of China having many conversations, conflicting conversations with other countries, aggressive conversation with other countries, possibly taking action against other countries. Uranus is in the 11th house in Gemini, so this would be perhaps its allies it's not getting along with. Perhaps there is a conflict with its allies that China has been allied with for a long time. But this Mars here, as Uranus is entering into Gemini, squaring to the ascendant, this is some sort of rebellious activity, explosive rebellious activity, whether it's by the people of the country or China itself taking action, explosive actions against other countries. It'll be very interesting to see how this unfolds, especially with Xi Jinping possibly not in power anymore. There could be maybe power struggles within the country, or struggles, the country trying to find a new leader, but that causes conflicts with other countries. Perhaps this new government coming in is having conflicts with other countries that maybe it was friends with at one time. Jupiter and Saturn are both in the 12th house. That's the house of hidden enemies. Perhaps there's an ally that they were allies with, but now something has occurred to spark a sudden conflict between these allies, or someone they thought was an ally of them somehow turns their back on them. This is going to be very interesting how this unfolds, especially with everything going on in the world with Iran, Israel. As Uranus comes into Gemini, I do see more of an uptick in conflict. China here and around the globe. I know I'm talking. It does seem that Xi Jinping is no longer in control, that he did have some health issues. Stroke is what is being said that he had, but it does seem that he has lost power. He has fallen from grace in a sense. If you're interested in a personal reading, my link is below. We can go over your chart, see what is unfolding for your future, or any concerns that you're having about things going on in your life that you would like to understand at a deeper level. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, and share.